children, welcome back. This week's story is about the generous landowner. And like last week's story, it comes from the book of Matthew, but this time it's chapter 20, the first 16 verses. Now you might think, because it's in the New Testament again, that Jesus will be in our story. But he's not in the story today, he's telling the story. So he's telling this story to people around him. And we call this story a parable. Jesus told lots of parables, and he used everyday things that people would understand, but the stories were not actually about those everyday things. They're about God and how he feels about us. So listen to today's story and see if you can guess what it's really about. The Generous Landowner, Matthew 20, verses 1 through 16. Once a farmer owned a vineyard. It was summertime, and suddenly all of the grapes were ripe at once. He couldn't possibly pick them all by himself. He decided to hire some people to help him look after his vines. So he went out to the market very early in the morning to find some workers. When the farmer arrived at the market, he quickly found some people who were looking for work. "Come with me," the farmer said. "I will give you 1 silver coin to work in my fields." The workers were glad to find work, and they went with the farmer right away. Later that morning, the farmer saw some other workers standing in the market. They were waiting to find jobs too. The farmer hired them to help in his vineyard. They too were happy to find work and went with the farmer right away to help with the harvest. Later on in the afternoon, the farmer saw that other workers were waiting in the market, so he invited them to help in his vineyard as well. They were eager to get started picking all of the grapes. Finally, when there were only a few hours left to work, the farmer noticed that there were still people waiting in the market. "Why are you still standing here?" the farmer asked. "Because no one has given us any work to do," they answered. "Well, come with me," the farmer said. "I will give you some work to do." Even though it was the end of the day, the people were glad to have a few hours of work. They went to the vineyard right away, and when all the work was finished, the farmer called everyone together. It was time to pay the workers. The farmer gave each one 1 silver coin. The workers who had been hired at the beginning of the day were very upset. "It's not fair," they complained. "We worked hard all day. These others only worked for a few hours. We should get more money." The farmer shook his head. "My friends," he explained, "I have not cheated you. You agreed to work for 1 silver coin, and that is what I paid you. It is my money, and I want to pay these other workers as much as I paid you. They need the money as much as you do. Now everyone will have enough." All the workers looked at the money the farmer had given them. Then they took their money and went home. The farmer had been very generous. Well, what did you think about that farmer? Did you think that that was fair? Well, I know when I was younger, I did not think the farmer was fair at all. I didn't like that he paid the people the same amount of money no matter how much they worked. If I had done my homework for 4 hours and my sister only did her homework for 2 hours, I wouldn't have liked it if we both got the same size ice cream cone. That's not fair. But this story is not about how hard you work and what reward you deserve to get. In this story, can you guess who the farmer is supposed to be? Well, the farmer is supposed to be God. Now, can you guess what the silver coin is supposed to be? Well, the silver coin that the farmer gives each of the workers is supposed to be God's love or God's grace. Now, do you remember in the story when the farmer kept going back to the market over and over and over again, looking for more and more people? Well, what that means is that God is willing to keep looking for us. He really wants to find you, no matter where you are, no matter how many times He has to look or reach out to you. So today's story is really about how God offers His grace and His love to you, not as a reward for how hard you work, but because He is a generous landowner, because He is a generous Father. He offers you your love whether you've believed in God for 5 years or 1 year or maybe just 1 month. You get the same amount of love no matter what. I hope you enjoyed the story. You might want to go back and listen to it again and think about what it's really supposed to be telling us about. See you next week.